Dear all students, I welcome all of you in the second year of this UG program. I think you all are safe and healthy during these pandemic situations of corona. Please stay at home. Congratulations as you all are promoted in the second year, and due to the COVID-19 situations you are exposed to online learning. This is an excellent audiovisual method and you will be more excited towards this. As you all know, I will be covering your one of the optional subject, chemistry, that is physical chemistry. I want to focus here that from this year the syllabus has been changed and you can go to the syllabus and other updates on the university website www.srdmun.ac.in. Now for the college updates, you can go to the college website also, http www.gmvk.co.in. Now let us switch over to our syllabus and the very first unit, that is atomic structure and wave mechanics. Now if you see the introduction of this topic, last year we have studied this topic. Now the next articles in this topic, the main theories in the form of evolution of atomic structure are due to John Dalton, who considered that all matter was composed of small particles called atoms in 1805. Now next, Sir J.J. Thomson, who has given the discovery of electron in 1896. After that, in 1909, Rutherford has given his nuclear model of atom. Moseley has given the determination of atomic number in 1913, and in the same year Bohr has given a nice explanation of the structure of atom. Now let us see the Planck's quantum theory of radiation. In 1900, Max Planck has studied the spectral lines which are obtained from hot body radiations at different temperatures. So what is the hot body radiation? The hot body radiation, you may consider the metal piece when it is heated. Then we can see the radiations which are emitted from that hot body, that is metal piece, at different temperatures. Now the Planck has studied the hot body radiations, and according to his theory, light radiation was produced discontinuously by the molecules of the hot body. Thus he proposed a new theory that a hot body radiates energy not in continuous waves but in the form of small units of waves. Now that unit wave, which is considered as a pulse of energy, is called as quantum or quanta. Now the quantum theory of electromagnetic radiation is stated as the first one: when atoms, molecules absorb or emit radiant energy, they do so in separate units of waves called quanta, or the alternative name for it is photons. Thus, light radiations obtained from energies or excited atoms consists of a stream of photons and not continuous waves. Now if you see here, you can see the condition here, that is, now this is previously which is considered as a continuous wave, and if you see here what Planck has studied is, it is in the form of small units of photon, that is individual photon. Now if you see here, this is the individual photon, now this is again another individual photon, and this is again in another individual photon. So the photon of light or quanta of light that we can see instead of this continuous waves. Now the second observation or second thing that he has uh, quoted is the energy E of a quantum or photon is given by relation E is equal to h nu. So what is h then? Now this is the relation that he has given, where h is Planck's constant, and as it is a constant, it has a constant value that is 6.626 into 10 raised to power minus 34 joules second, and this nu is the frequency of emitted radiation. As the light is emitting, then it must have certain frequency, that is nu. Now again, if you see here, we know that again nu, that is the frequency, is nothing but c divided by lambda, where c is the velocity of light and lambda is the wavelength of radiation. So if I substitute for nu in the above equation 1, we will get equation number 2, that is E is equal to h instead of nu c divided by lambda. Now we will call this as equation number 2. Now what conclusion he has drawn is that thus the magnitude of a quantum or photon of energy is directly proportional to the frequency of the radiant energy or is inversely proportional to its wavelength. Now we can see here that is E is directly proportional to frequency, that is nu, and if you consider in terms of wavelength, as these are the two constants, that is h and c, then it will be 1 divided by lambda, that is nothing but inversely proportional to its wavelength. Now the third conclusion that Max Planck has done is an atom or molecule can emit or absorb either one quantum or any whole number multiple of this unit. Now if you see here, what is the meaning of this is an atom or molecule can emit or absorb, emission spectrum or absorption spectrum, by either one quantum of energy. One quantum of energy is considered to be h nu, or any whole multiple number of this unit, means this is h nu, that is single h nu, or it may be 2h nu, it may be 3h nu. Likewise, this means that the radiant energy can be emitted as h nu, 2h nu, 3h nu, and so on. But keep in mind that whatever the radiant energy which is emitted, it is not in the form of fractions as 1.5 h nu, 3.27 h nu, 5.9 h nu. These are taken just for your sake of simplicity. So any fraction of the radiant energy cannot be emitted, but it is emitted as the whole number multiple of this unit, that is the unit that is h nu. Now let's see what is about the photoelectric effect. Now you can see in the diagram also. Now this photoelectric effect is nothing but the phenomena when a beam of light of sufficiently high frequency is allowed to strike a metal surface in vacuum. Electrons are ejected from the metal surface, is known as photoelectric effect. Now simple thing is there. When a beam of light of sufficiently high frequency when allowed to strike on any metal surface, now when it strikes on metal surface, the electrons are ejected from that metal surface, and this process is known as photoelectric effect. Now whatever the ejected electrons are there, they are called photoelectrons because they are ejected by a beam of light. The phenomena can be explained by considering the example where ultraviolet light shines on cesium metal, or you may take sodium metal, lithium, rubidium, or potassium. So whatever the apparatus that has been used or that is used is shown in above figure. Now, after observing the diagram and the process with photoelectric apparatus, we can see the observations like an increase in intensity of incident light does not increase the energy of photoelectrons. So it merely increases their rate of emission. Means if we supply more intensity light, that does not increase the energy of photoelectrons, because the energy of photoelectrons remains the same. But what is the effect of increasing intensity of light is it merely increase their rate of emission. So second one, the kinetic energy of the photoelectrons increases linearly with the frequency of the incident light as shown in figure above. If the frequency is increased below a certain critical value, that is threshold frequency, which is denoted by nu 0, no electrons are ejected at all. So what is the meaning of this is that, so whatever the kinetic energy of photoelectron increases linearly with the frequency of incident light, if frequency is decreased, means in order to eject an electron from the metal surface, the primary requirement is it should have or it should not go below that value, that is known as the threshold frequency, and above the threshold frequency all electrons are ejected, but below the threshold frequency there will be no ejection of electrons at all. So according to classical physics, the kinetic energy of the photoelectrons should depend upon the intensity of light and not on the frequency. So this classical physics fails to explain the above observations. So then after that, considering these failures, the famous scientist Einstein has given his explanation regarding the photoelectric effect. In 1905, Einstein has interpreted the photoelectric effect by application of the quantum theory of light just now we have studied. According to him, if you see in the diagram, whatever the kinetic energy of photoelectrons is there, that is compared with the frequency of incident radiation. So you may see in the graph or diagram, what is that a photon of incident light transmits its energy, that is energy in the form of h nu, that is quantum or photon, to an electron in the metal surface, which escapes with kinetic energy half mv square. The greater intensity of incident light merely implies greater number of photons, each of which releases one electron. See the meaning of this. If the incident light has greater intensity, then it simply implies that greater number of photons, each of which release one electron only. So each photon will release one electron only. This increases the rate of emission of electrons, but the kinetic energy of individual photons remains unaffected. Means in order to release the electron from the metal surface, whatever the simple kinetic energy that is required, that is half of mv square, that remains unaffected. So you may see in the diagram also. So this is the photon of light that is falling on the metal surface, where this positively charge shows the metal charge and the electrons which are there at the surface. Whenever the light falls h nu, then that one h nu will eject one electron only. So this is the photoelectron. So if suppose 2 h nu that are falling on this metal surface, then 2 electrons will be ejected. 3, 4, 5, likewise the electrons are ejected. Now the second conclusion or second observation that Einstein has made is, in order to release an electron from the metal surface, the incident photon has first to overcome attractive force exerted by positive ion of the metal. Now if you see here, the electron is attached with the positive metal ion. Now to escape that electron from that metal ion, or in order to release that electron from the metal surface, the incident photon has first to overcome the attractive force. Means it has give its energy to that electron to escape that electron from that positive metal ion. So the energy of photon, which is h nu, is proportional to the frequency of incident light. The frequency which provides enough energy just to release the electron from the metal surface is known as threshold frequency. So whatever the minimum amount of energy that is required just to escape the electron from the metal surface is known as the threshold frequency, and which is denoted by nu zero. For frequency less than nu zero, then you may have understood that if the frequency is less than nu zero, then there will be no ejection of electron. Again, what will happen for higher frequencies? Let us see. So for higher frequencies where nu is greater than nu zero, a part of the energy goes to loosen the electron and the remaining for imparting kinetic energy to the photoelectron. See, the minimum amount which is required to eject the electron is threshold frequency, and the higher frequency will be provided sometimes, but that remaining frequency imparts the kinetic energy to the photoelectron. Thus, we can show this in the equation form, that is, if the electron or whatever the electron that is having h nu amount of energy, that is h nu is equal to h nu 0, that is the threshold frequency, which is minimum frequency which is required to eject the electron. And if suppose the incident photon or incident energy is having more than this, that is threshold frequency, plus whatever the remaining amount that is imparted for the photoelectron is the kinetic energy, that is half mv square. And let us number this equation as 1, where you can see here the terms which are involved in the equation are h nu, that is nothing but the energy of incoming electron. Then h nu 0 is the minimum energy for an electron to escape from the metal. Just now we have explained this. And whatever the half mv square is nothing but the kinetic energy of the photoelectron which has been imparted to them. Now, as we are knowing that h nu 0 is constant for a particular solid, and which is denoted by W, which is nothing but the work function, then if I consider h nu 0 as a constant and I give it as W, which is nothing but the work function, then considering this, we can rearrange equation 1 as half of mv square is equal to h nu minus W. So this is the equation for a straight line. You can see in the figure that gives the straight line, and its slope is equal to h, which is nothing but the Planck's constant, and thus the value of h thus found is same as it was given by Planck.